Korrine never wanted to waste a minute of life.
She was just a unique girl.
She was always nice to everybody. She was never mean to anybody.
And she was one of those people when she walks into a room, she just like lit up the whole room. And
whenever you were around her, you were smiling and laughing and just having a lot of fun.
She just was just enthusiastic about it.
Everything. Like if we were learning something new about math, like she was thrilled about it. If we had recess, she was thrilled to go outside.
She wanted to go out and do it.
And she had this like infectious positivity about her that made everybody else around her feel happy.
She was good to me, good to her daddy.
She really had a deep feeling for people. She was just a joy. I mean, I don't know how to explain it.
It came as a complete shock to us, her diagnosis. On a Saturday in December 16th, she had a water polo tournament. Well, excuse me, on a Saturday we were bike riding as a family. We went for a lovely bike ride, and Sunday the 16th she played in a water polo tournament, and that night she came home and went straight to bed, and that was just really unlike her. And Monday and Tuesday she had some flu-like symptoms. And I took her to the doctor on Wednesday, and he thought maybe she had a kidney infection.
It was the day before Christmas break. She was taken out of school early. She wasn't feeling good.
You know, we're thinking, what a bummer. Christmas break, and she's going to be, really sick. What a drag.
I called the doctor and I said, I'm not waiting for these antibiotics to kick in. Something's really wrong with my daughter. And I'm taking her to the emergency room. And she was just throwing up uncontrollably and just really, really sick. However, she was so sick, but she was sitting down working on her Constitution keepsake for 8th grade.
Somewhere down the line, they decided to do an ultrasound. And I can't remember what triggered that. I think it was her blood results.
And then before I knew it, they're sending us upstairs for another ultrasound. And then right after that, a CAT scan. And they said, we have to admit your daughter. We found a large mass in her stomach.
He went out and I went out and followed him. I said, so wait a minute, what are you telling me you saw a mass?
We found a large mass in your daughter's abdomen, and we see spots on her lungs and her liver.
I go, you telling me she's got cancer? And he says, I don't know. And that's when I just went, oh my gosh, what's going on?
That night we stayed up waiting for the doctor to come in and talk to us. And
less than an hour later, the head of
oncology, OB/GYN oncology, and
she brought us into the room, and she basically told us that that the mass that she found was cancer.
I just felt myself caving in. I felt my chest just caving in.
I felt like I just got hit in the stomach. And the one thing she said is, right now, what you guys need to do is
put your poker face on. And I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it wasn't good.
Alright, hi everyone, how are you guys doing? I just want to thank everyone for all the support from like my emails and everything. It's been awesome. Go on my website every day and read them all. So I'm here in the hospital for my second round of chemo. I'm really excited. Only 2 more to go after this. And then I'll be back in the water playing water polo. Oh yeah. So right outside my window I got Cal Berkeley and the Oakland Hills and Oakland. It's actually kind of nice. I like the view. Got my own room, so don't have to wake up every night and listen to my neighbors and stuff. And I'm really excited about this chemo. I'm going in stronger, so should go a lot better than it did last time. And I'm just trying to keep a positive attitude about this. I mean, hope everyone out there is too. I mean, no one should be sad for me. I'm fine. Yeah. So I love you guys so much, and I really appreciate everything everyone's been doing for me. And it's a big thing, cancer, but I'm gonna overcome it. I'm living strong, so love you guys. Bye.
And she came into the hospital looking at having to have intensive chemotherapy, never having been ill, never having faced anything of this kind before. And I went into the room shortly after she had started her IV, her first IV, and she was pretty much having a party in the room. I mean, she was sitting in the bed and she was hooked up to the IV, and her dad was sitting there and they were kind of cutting up. And I walked in and she said, I'll never forget this because she just was so lively about the whole thing. She said, I don't know what you guys put in this stuff, but I feel great.
You know, I knew I was coming to see a 13-year-old girl and have a few probably preconceived ideas about what that means when someone's ill. But when I walked in, she just had the biggest, brightest smile. And I thought it would be somebody not feeling well, kind of, you know, she was sick. And she was so sweet.
She believed that I have cancer, they're gonna give me chemotherapy, and I'm gonna beat it. And so we just, as a family, we walked into that pediatric ward at Kaiser Oakland where they treat the oncology patients. We walked in there with our heads held high, knowing we were gonna beat this thing.
I found out she was diagnosed with cancer, and it was just a slap across the face.
It was kind of just like surreal.
Hollow, a very deep, sad hollowness.
I was in a state of kind of disbelief, and I kind of lacked reaction because I didn't really want to believe it.
I was really scared. I didn't want to lose my best friend and my sister.
I had just gotten back from a soccer practice, and my mom was in the office on the computer. She had told me, oh, you know Korrine, yeah, and then she said she's been diagnosed with cancer. And she said she had been on Korrine's blog and that they didn't know how bad it was yet. They couldn't tell them what stage it was. But just that her blog, even though she had cancer, was still really uplifting, and that it was like a really cool blog and I should check it out and stuff.
It was something that her nieces and nephews started pretty much as just awareness of how she was doing, because there was a lot of people that wanted to know how she was doing. And so they called it Team KC. And it started with t-shirts pretty much, where they made t-shirts and they sold them, and pretty much the money kind of went to us. It was to help us.
Well, we saw what was going on in the hospital. Kids had nothing. And people weren't, you know, other than parents, family, people weren't coming up and visiting them. They had nothing for them to do. You just sit in a room all day. And so Korrine thought, you know, I want to do something. We're living the need. I want to do something about it. I want to raise money to help other pediatric cancer patients and their families. And so that's what we did. She wanted to raise money to help support kids and get them gift cards or get them things to do in the hospital, gift cards to go shopping to Target, Walmart, just the basic everyday necessities. That's what Korrine wanted.
And it's not just stuff, it's not just money, it's not just things, we're Team KC. You know, we've walked this path, we know this journey, and we're here to help you.
Any pain, any discomfort, headaches, are you eating enough? Are you able to drink more?
Meads of Courage, if you don't know, is a program where kids and teenagers earn a bead for each step of their treatment. And the goal is to create sort of a symbolic storyline from the time of diagnosis over the course of treatment. And so that a child can look back, or a teenager can look back and say, you know, each of these beads represents some of the challenges that I had to rise to.
They were these glass beads that they give her for every round of chemo that she does, or every surgery, or every doctor's appointment. They all have different ones that have different meanings.
What I do know is Korrine had a ton of them, and that she was proud of them too, and rightfully so, because she definitely deserved it. I mean, anytime she got a shot, she got a bead. And like, I hate shots. Like, I don't even know how she did that.
We tried to count them all when we were there, and we couldn't even count them all, which just showed that how much she had been through.
Seeing those beads, it's just like when I look at pictures of them, it's just, you realize how strong one person can be.
But we watched her suffer. And then after that, we kept going and going. The doctor said, well, we could try this, try that. And we did. And 10.5 rounds later of chemotherapy, we were in the doctor's office. And the doctor said, pulled Matt and I aside, and he said, you know, we give her 6 to 8 weeks to live.
It really felt like it was, sorry, that it really did feel like she would beat it.
When she was breathing really hard, and we were just sitting there talking to her and praying, and she just took that last breath, and that was it. And that was it. She died right there. We hold her, and it was very peaceful.
I felt very sad, very, very sad. It's like you have to go through a pain that you cannot escape from.
And no matter what way you look at it, it's not fair. So that's all I just kept thinking was, she was such a positive person, and now her life was taken away for absolutely no reason, when there's bad people that would live until they're 90.
I was numb for a while. I went home and I went on the Team KC website and I read what Dana wrote about her last
was around her
hours.
Animals were around her.
And I completely broke.
And then I remember my dad and I went to Sycamore Grove, and we just walked through the park, and I remember just seeing the sunset that night and thinking Korrine would have thought that's like the most beautiful thing.
It was so crushing when Korrine died, and we were all so sad. I mean, really, it was just the saddest time for everybody who had come to know her and her family and love her and her family over the months of her treatment. But it was just sort of out of that sadness came this incredible mission and force, which is Team KC, which has really just grown in the months and years since we lost Korrine.
After I got over that initial shock, I really started thinking about Korrine's life and her legacy and what she brought to my life and also the others around me.
Every time I see a Live Strong or anything like that, it just reminds me of her and just her smile, and it's just, you can't take life too seriously, because if you take it too seriously, you're gonna miss all the enjoyment.
It's given me a chance to do what I hope what she wanted to do.
It's just one of those things where it's like, you have to be positive, because if I'm living negatively and she got her life taken away, how does that look?
Yeah, there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of crying and a lot of hurt, but the joy of that little girl, that precious soul, and you can't measure that. It's worth it. It's worth every tear. I do it again and again, just as long as I get to know her.
I've just been sitting here, having a good day, staying positive. Hope no one out there is being sad for me, because I don't need that. So, no tears. And I don't know, I've just been enjoying myself. Yeah, so I love you guys, and I hope to see everyone soon. Okay, bye.